pushing its way from your speakers.
Like a chest-bursting xenomorph.
Is the Filmography Podcast. The only podcast that breaks down film franchises in the most brutal way possible.
Sit down, grab that popcorn,
and join Jason, Brett, and a co-host for the film dissection you thought you didn't need.
Spoilers. Alien 3 is better than Resurrection.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Filmography Podcast. Podcast about films and stuff, mostly films. This episode, I just want to just basically talk about what I want to do with this podcast and how you can find it and what I plan in terms of scheduling for it. And we might talk about a couple of films I've seen recently and get into details about those, spoilers as well, beware. So yeah, this is what I have dubbed the Filmography Podcast. It is about films. It's just going to be a mashup of things like my favourite films. You know, one week I might be talking about my favourite films, or one week I might be reviewing a film, or just talking about a film I've seen. You know, talking about the cinema, movie-going experience, bad experiences, great experiences, just all things manner of films. I also want to kind of review film franchises, like entire series from start to finish, and review each movie in franchises like that. Hence why it's called the Filmography Podcast, because it's a filmography, the series, these of films. And yeah, I've been wanting to do this for a while. I just haven't got around to actually just get on and do it, because I find that I've come from doing a podcast every month or so with a co-host. I'm on a Iced Earth podcast with a co-host called Chuck Hoskins. So I was used to having someone there to kind of chat to and just have someone to bounce off of. But I'm doing this on my own because I thought, fuck it, I might as well, and I got a lot of things to say. So basically, it is March, it's almost April. I can't believe it, this year's gone fucking fast already. I swear it gets faster every year. But I've seen the first 3 films of this year that I went to see at a cinema were great. I went and saw Bumblebee at the beginning of the year, best Transformers film. I know it's not saying much, because the others have been dog shit, completely dog shit. I didn't like any of them. But yeah, Bumblebee, fantastic movie, great. I loved it. I feel they found the kind of direction they need to go to kind of appease those Transformer fans like myself, who grew up when the cartoon show was huge. Like growing up in the 80s, well, for me it was like the late 80s, early 90s. Like I remember like the season 3 opening where it's like dum da dum da dum dum da da, like the really kind of upbeat techno intro they had for season 3. Didn't realise it was season 3 at the time. Obviously I was only a child. But yeah, for fans like me who love Transformers, even to this day I love Transformers. I've got like the box set on DVD and everything. But yeah, they finally, with Bumblebee, they finally found the kind of right mold for a Transformers film. I thought the lead actress, I forget her name unfortunately, but I thought the lead character was actually decent. I quite liked her a lot. Better than Mark Wahlberg and better than Shia LaBeouf, or however you pronounce his name. I think those characters were they're okay, but they're a bit annoying. They were kind of there just for the sake of being there. Excuse me. But yeah, the main character, I think it was really sweet. I think the relationship between her and Bumblebee was a sweet relationship where, it was just kind of a good like a friendship movie, and a really good action movie. The opening 20 minutes of Bumblebee, for me anyway, I had the biggest shit-eating grin on my face, because it gave me what I want in terms of, or it teased me for a film that I've wanted for years, since the first Transformers movie came out. Because I don't really care about the human aspect of these Transformers movies, even though in Bumblebee the human characters are pretty good for the most part. But the opening 20 minutes, they tease at a, you know, the war for Cybertron, and I want to see that in the movie. They seem to have nailed it. This opening in Bumblebee is fucking great, and I was just giddy with excitement at the idea of a Transformers Cybertron movie, because we haven't really seen that, really. There's always been kind of a human element. Even with the cartoons, there's always been a human element. But I just want to see robots just beat the shit out of each other. Now, people say, you might say, well, Jason, you get that. You get that with the Michael Bay stuff, which, yeah, but it's not the same. The thing with Bumblebee, what I feel they got right, they got the Transformer on Transformer fighting right. You could see what was going on in Bumblebee, and that's what I loved about it, is that you could see the combat, the fight sequences were done right, and they weren't just a mash of metal everywhere, which the Michael Bay movies were. So yeah, the film opens with this massive tease, this massive dick tease of a fucking Cybertron movie that I know for a fact we're never ever gonna get. And it's a shame, because they nailed everything from the look, the sound, everything. They got it so right in that Cybertron sequence, and they go back to it later on in the film as well. There's two sequences during the Cybertron part on Cybertron, and it's just so good. And you see Soundwave, and he looks exactly like he's from the cartoon. He looks fucking proper, like, cartoon accurate fucking Soundwave, man, with his cassettes that fold out into fucking panthers and bats, and I had the biggest grin. It was so good. But yeah, Bumblebee, really good start to the year for movies. I know it officially came out in December over here in the UK, and but I only got around to seeing it in January, and it was a really enjoyable watch. Best film in the franchise. The only sad part about all of this is that apparently rumours this could be confirmed, I'm not too sure, but apparently the word on the street is that the Transformers franchise is going back to the Michael Bay kind of style, which is a shame, because Bumblebee is the highest rated film of the franchise, and I'm going to buy the Blu-ray because I loved it, and I thought, that Cybertron sequence just done it for me. It was about 5 minutes long, and it was incredible. I loved it. Next up, I saw in February. Actually, this is a lie. In January, I went to see Dragon Ball Super Broly. I'm a massive Dragon Ball fan. Watched Super from start to finish as it aired over the last couple of years. First time watching it in Japanese, fell in love with the Japanese cast. I love the Japanese cast. So when they teased at this third film, because we've had two, we've had Dragon Ball Z Battle of the Gods and Dragon Ball Z Resurrection of F. When they announced the first for the first Dragon Ball film to be dubbed as a Dragon Ball Super movie, it was where could they go? Could it be a continuation from where Super left off with the Tournament of Power? If you haven't seen Dragon Ball or Dragon Ball Super, there was a Tournament of Power where basically all the universities came together. Blah, blah, blah. It's a long story, but if you're a Dragon Ball fan, you know what I'm talking about. So there was a lot of speculation to wonder where this new movie could go, whether it could go to maybe further on the story of Dragon Ball Super. It does that. It really does that. It is set after Dragon Ball Super, where that left off, and is canonically in the story, kind of takes part. So the next story arc of the anime, once it comes back on television, will probably take place after the movie and kind of take the movie into account of events. So yeah, basically we got the Broly movie, Dragon Ball Super Broly, which is crazy because people are like, you're doing Broly again? Come on, guys, originality. But this was different because it was Akira Toriyama, the creator of Dragon Ball. It was his interpretation of the Broly character, and that was exciting to me because I never really liked the Broly as a character because his story arc was literally like he was born the same time as Goku. Goku didn't stop crying, so now Broly hates Goku because Goku kept crying. It was dumb, it was stupid, and I didn't like that story arc for Broly. And Broly was just overly powered, crazy powerful villain in the 3 movies that he was in. If you count Bio Broly, but I don't because it's rubbish. But yeah, so Akira Toriyama is like reinvented the character, gave him heart, made him likable, and gave him kind of a tragic story where, you know, he's basically the story is he's you know, they wanted to send him off as a baby to a faraway planet so he couldn't be a threat to King Vegeta possibly. And his dad, oh, I forgot his dad's name. I'm terrible. Oh fuck, what's his dad's name? Oh, my brain's gone dead. Well, bollocks. Well, that sucks. Well, anyway, his dad doesn't like the idea and escapes with his son to a far off planet. And basically, he realizes his son's potential power and he becomes super powerful. And he molds his son into a somewhat of weapon of revenge for King Vegeta. Obviously, this takes place way before everything we know of Dragon Ball, like, you know, Goku going to Earth and all that stuff. And it does recap that. It also recaps the destruction of planet Vegeta with Frieza kind of wiping out the planet. And it kind of like, if any of you are Dragon Ball fans out there and you've read the Dragon Ball Minus manga, where it kind of like retcons the whole kind of origin of Goku being sent to Earth, and you get to see Goku's mother Gine and Bardock for the first. Well, not so obviously we've seen Bardock before, but obviously that kind of Dragon Ball Minus is a manga. It kind of reintroduced Bardock, but it was Akira Toriyama's new interpretation of Bardock. So yeah, it has a brief kind of early of that whole thing of Frieza destroying planet Vegeta and Bardock and Gine sending Goku to Earth. It kind of rewrites that. Then it sets a new on it kind of it comes to like modern day after the Tournament of Power, kind of taking place after Dragon Ball Super, this TV show, and basically these two Saiyans that have been working for the Frieza Force, they've been out in space for years and years and years. They come across a planet, they crash land, they find out that Bardock and his dad are there, and they take him with them, and they go back to Frieza. Obviously, Frieza's alive. If you've seen the end of Dragon Ball Super, the anime, you know Frieza is alive again, and that's why Frieza is still alive here. And they present Broly and his dad to them, and they kind of pledge their allegiance to Frieza, and saying that, you know, well, we want revenge on Vegeta, and Frieza's like, oh great, I can use them to get my revenge on the Saiyans, and then they basically go to Earth, and they meet Goku and Vegeta, and they have a fight. And most of the second half of the film is this fight with Broly, and the animation is the best. It's the best looking thing. The best looking thing we've seen when it comes to Dragon Ball in terms of what it looks like, and just the fluidity of the animation, and it's just the art style is incredible. The only thing on par with it, in my opinion, is the Dragon Ball FighterZ video game, but that's a different podcast. Not that I do a gaming podcast, nor that I would at the moment. But anyway, so yeah, it's the best looking Dragon Ball film that we've had, and I think it's fucking great. I think it looked wonderful. It's got ton of fan service, little seeds and little nuggets of stuff that, if you've watched Dragon Ball from the very first Dragon Ball anime all the way through Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball GT even, and Dragon Ball Super, there's always little nuggets where massive fans like myself can just smile at these big little Easter eggs and little nuggets of information that only fans would know. And there's some comedy involved, and it's actually pretty funny. When I saw it in cinema, I booked a ticket, and when I went in, and it was packed out. It was such a sold out showing, which was great to see. It was great to see that Dragon Ball has still got a pull, especially here in the UK. It's really wonderful. And yeah, the whole theater, the whole cinema was just cracking up laughing, and I was laughing too. I had a smile on my face. Great. One of the highlights for me, with this podcast as well. Please prepare for spoilers for the films I'm talking about, because I'm just gonna go just jumping into stuff. One of my highlights for this movie is that we see Super Saiyan Gods Vegeta for the first time. Redhead Vegeta is displayed in this film, and he looks great. I just think he looks awesome with red hair. He looks better than his Super Saiyan Blue form. I think just red hair just looks really awesome on Vegeta. My favourite character out of Dragon Ball. And yeah, it's just the film is just so well paced. The animations, the fight sequences are really just blistering fast, crazy affairs, just overpowered moments, just awesome stuff. Goku and Vegeta ended up doing the Batora dance and fusing into Gogeta. Yes, guys, for the fans out there, you already know this, but this officially makes Gogeta canon. I was kind of spoiled on the Gogeta thing as well, because Toei Animation kind of wanted to they kind of just felt like they had to put a trailer out showing Gogeta in this movie, and Gogeta's not in it for too long. Gogeta's in it for about 15 minutes in the movie towards the end, and I'm just like, why would they go out and put a trailer specifically showing Gogeta in the movie? That's a massive. I don't know how it works over in Japan, but to me that's a massive spoiler. They're literally spoiling the finale of their movie by putting Gogeta in a trailer, and the trailer is there to showcase, oh, come and see our movie, Gogeta's in it. And that, to me, that is really odd. It's really odd, but it didn't take away from the film. I still love the film. I thought the film was great. I still prefer Battle of the Gods, because what Battle of the Gods did for me, it introduced new characters, it introduced new lore, and it introduced, where could they go next with Dragon Ball? It brought that question of, it brought new things to the table, and they brought new things to grow the show, the lore. They grew the lore. Now with Dragon Ball Super Broly, they kind of left it kind of open, like, wonder what things are going to happen next, because Broly is not defeated at the end of this movie. He's kind of convinced to not fight, and he goes back to the planet that he grew up on. And his Saiyan friends who found him go with him, and they kind of live together. And Goku kind of goes and sees him and says, you're really strong. You know how Goku is. You're really strong. Maybe we could fight again. And I like that, where he kind of he goes, my name's Goku, but you can call me Kakarot. That's the first time, as far as I'm aware, that Goku has ever referred to himself as Kakarot. I don't know whether because they are saying, the Saiyans are who he's talking to, but it's an interesting character moment for Goku, because he's always rejected his Saiyan heritage throughout the entire series, from the point when he met Raditz, throughout maybe up until possibly the Namek arc, when he becomes a Super Saiyan for the first time. But anyway, the movie kind of just leaves it quite open for Super to come back and kind of move forward with a new arc. And I thought the film was really, really great. And yeah, as a Dragon Ball fan, I came out and I loved it. I was like, yes, give me the Blu-ray right now. I need to watch it again. So yeah, that was a really, the second film I saw in January was fantastic. Now, this gets to the third film, which I would say is great. I've seen 3 great films and 1 not so great in these 3 months. The next great film that I saw in these next is Attila Battle Angel, produced by James Cameron. It's pretty much been a James Cameron baby for the longest time. I remember seeing him talk about it all the way back before Avatar came out, and that was like what 2008, 2009, something like that. I remember him talking about how he was a big fan of the manga that it's based on, and if you can tell I'm a big fan of anime and manga already, but like if you ever was a big fan of those of anime or manga, and you've seen attempts to translate that into live action films, you've probably been disappointed. Ghost in the Shell was average at best. Dragon Ball Evolution was a pile of shit. The translation has never been good. I have good news though. Attila Battle Angel is the best manga to live action adaptations I've ever seen. It's fantastic. Great film. Great characters. Pacing was excellent. Really, really like just next level CGI. The CGI in this movie is on another level. It really is. Like, I know people complained about the Attila's eyes in this movie. Yeah, they're a bit weird at the beginning, but you will get used to them because they really do convey the character's emotions really well. They're used in the movie to really portray feeling and emotion, and they succeed with that, and they don't look so weird. And I think they're there. One, because obviously it's coming from a Japanese kind of source, so it's kind of giving that kind of Japanesey look. But also, I think they're there to kind of distinguish her that she isn't like she's an android more or less. She's not completely human, and I just think the story is really heartwarming, and they're pretty violent in places for a film that's like a 12A, I think, or something like that. It's not even a 15 over here in the UK. It's like a 12A, and yeah, like I know it's like cybernetic. You've got cybernetic humans with like metal arms and stuff, but like some of the violence is just brutal, even to like mechanical parts. Like some of the violence is up there. It's up there big time, and it's just a wonderful film. I don't really want to spoil this one because I think this one you should it's probably not in the cinema anymore, but you should go and grab it on Blu-ray when it comes out, because I think it's a really good movie, and I don't really want to spoil it for anybody that doesn't really know the manga or know the story already. I just want people to go and watch it and experience it for themselves, because I think it's a really good sci-fi film. It's got a lot of heart. It's got great pacing. The characters are likable, except for maybe one character I didn't really care about. But like, you generally do care about Attila's kind of journey, and her development is completely obvious. Obvious is the wrong word. Her development is very much kind of like it. Her character develops at the right pace throughout the film, and she becomes a straight up motherfucking badass, and it's awesome. And the action sequences are, like I said, brutal, really well choreographed, and it was just so much. The film was fun. I really, it kind of reminded me of last year's Ready Player One. It had that kind of CGI vibe to it. It's better than that movie. I enjoyed that film from last year. It was a pretty decent movie. Attila Battle Angel, though, 9 out of 10. I really, really liked it. I thought it was really good. So I recommend everybody to go and pick that up on Blu-ray. So yeah, that's that. Now, they were the three big movies that I thought were great that I've seen this year. Now we're going to get on to what you can call the main event, I suppose. Captain Marvel. I know there's been a lot of controversy when it comes to Brie Larson and Captain Marvel, but I'm not going to go into that now because I don't care about it really. At the end of the day, I'm a big Marvel fan. Not when I say that, I don't mean I'm a big Marvel fan in terms of comics. I just really am invested in the movies, in the movies, and the cinematic universe that they've built. I think the films have been really good. Some have been a bit hit and miss, but most of them have been really good. Avengers Infinity War was outstanding last year. 9 out of 10 movie for me. I don't like giving scores to stuff, but that's the easiest way to really portray like how much I liked it. Incredible movie. I'm so hyped for Endgame, but Captain Marvel, I was excited because she was meant to be this completely super powered, badass female character that was meant to come in and be the Avengers Superman, for lack of a better word. So I was excited to see who this character was and how she kind of fits in with everything that's going on. And obviously this film is an origin story. It's how she becomes Captain Marvel, etc. Unfortunately, I was utterly disappointed with this film. It's just unremarkable, and I found myself really not giving an utter shit about the main character, and that's a shame considering it's Marvel's first female leading role, and she couldn't be more boring. I said it. She's fucking the character's boring. There's nothing there that invested me in the character. Now, obviously, with the other characters, there's interesting stories that have been told. Iron Man, building the Iron Man suit to escape imprisonment by terrorists and becoming this hero that that he's meant to be. Captain America being this scrawny kid that just wanted to be great and work hard and be this soldier, and you see him become America's Captain America. You just this super soldier that becomes one of the biggest heroes in the Avengers, the leader of the Avengers. He becomes this big deal, and it's just a wonderful kind of story. And everybody has interesting backstories, and I love the characters that that have come from the Avengers. Hell, even Thor, he's a super powered character. He's super ridiculously overpowered at points, and even he has really interesting lore behind his character. But I find that Captain Marvel does not have any of those things. And it's a shame because I really wanted to like this movie, but it's one of those cases where I think it is set in the 1990s, and the film tries its hardest to remind you of that for some reason. I don't know why. Something in the background. It might be when she lands on Earth, she falls through a Blockbuster store. Great. I remember Blockbuster. You don't have to remind me. You have to. Oh, the Blockbuster. It must be the 1990s. You don't have to tell me that. Oh, there's a Game Boy poster. Oh, yeah, I remember the Game Boy. You don't have to remind me that it's the 90s. If you say it's the 90s, I'll remember it's the 1990s. There's a thing in this movie that really doesn't. Spoilers a little bit, right? So, Nick Fury, he has this pager, so when things happen, he has to he gets paged and he's got to head off to do stuff. But yeah, pager, 90s tech, pretty simple. You got obviously he's a pager, so you got it reminds you that he's a pager. So Captain Marvel, she takes his pager and adds in all this new technology. So now it can literally its signal can reach out into the vast light years of space. It can reach the other end of the universe. I don't understand why she does all this shit to his inferior 1990s pager. Well, why? How come she hasn't got this something of the equivalent, but that's like super high tech. Like, why doesn't she have this stuff? There's certain things in the movie that makes me ask those kind of questions. There's a scene where she's on the phone in a phone booth talking to one of the characters from the Kree, but he's in space, so how the fuck is she talking through a phone from a phone booth on Earth talking to a guy in space? Doesn't explain it. There's a lot of things that I don't know. It's just there's nothing remarkable about this movie, and it upsets me because we know she's going to be in Avengers Endgame, and I just fear that she's going to be this boring, overly super powered character that is going to turn up and just stomp everyone, and I don't find that exciting. They did that in Justice League. They resurrected Superman. Steppenwolf was a shit villain anyway, but they resurrect Superman. He turns up. He stomps out everybody. That is what I fear is going to happen in Endgame. She's going to be this super overpowered character that just stomps everyone, and it's going to cause a lack of threat in the movie or whatever. I just feel that it kind of ruins the dynamic of the Avengers with her in it. You may argue, yeah, but what about Thor? Well, the way they've kind of like toned Thor down a little bit. He's still really powerful, but they've kind of not made him super powerful. It's the same with the Hulk. The Hulk wasn't in Infinity War unless the beginning of it. The reason why they took Hulk out of the equation is because he would have just stomped everyone, and that would have been more or less the film until the snap happened. So I just fear that she's just going to be the front and center of Endgame, and I don't want that because I don't care about the character. I have no investment in this character, and that's the worry. And that's where this whole movie falls apart, because she's meant to be this main character. She's Captain Marvel. She has these super powered moments. She is like Superman, but in the Marvel universe. Essentially, that's what she is. But I'm all for super powered moments, overpowered characters. I'm into Dragon Ball, like I said. Goku, overpowered, but his story, his backstory, his character is interesting, likable, and you get invested. I don't have that with Captain Marvel at all, and I know I've repeated myself, but there's other things as well. They really try to ham up the comedy in this film, and it doesn't land for me at all. I didn't find people laughed in the cinema when I saw it. People laughed; they thought it was funny, but I really didn't find it funny. And everyone's going to say to me, but what about Goose the cat? He was funny. No, he wasn't. They really tried. I thought it was cute. It was cute. Oh yeah, he's not a real cat. He's an alien cat. Oh great. An alien cat that spits out tentacles. Spoilers. He spits out tentacles and kills people. Great. Yeah, I didn't find it funny though. Unfortunately, I didn't find it funny at all. And yeah, so they tried to ham up these comedy moments that don't hit. I'm not invested in the character at all. I think she's boring. She could be more boring if she tried. She's so OP. She's one of those superpowered characters that I don't feel deserves to have the power she has, because I don't care for the character. So yeah, if I was going to give it a number, Captain Marvel, a low 5. If I'm being generous, 5 on the dot. Average 5 out of 10. So yeah, a bit negative for that film, but it's just one of those things. Like I hope they kind of dial her down for Endgame, but we'll wait and see. It's got a tough pill to swallow when it comes to being a sequel to Avengers Infinity War, because that was an incredible movie. Anyway, I'm going to wrap this up, guys. Thank you for listening. You have been listening to the Filmography podcast. I have been Jason. Thank you for watching. I'm going to try to get these out weekly. When I say I mean that, I'm underlining try, because I am a busy dude. But if you like what you hear, if you like listening to me rambling on about movies, you can check us out on Podbean, Spotify, and Facebook. Just look for the Filmography podcast. I will be dropping links under this podcast, both on YouTube and Podbean, so you can find other places where I'm going to be. Thank you everybody for listening, and I'm out.
Don't forget to subscribe to the Filmography podcast.
For more monstrous discussions about films we love and hate.
Be sure to let us know what films you want covered in the future.